Transformers animated Bulkhead debuted in the main line as part of the first wave of Voyager-class figures. Regardless of the toy's own merits, some weren't too thrilled with Bulkhead, the largest of the show's main 5 Autobots, being dwarfed by Deluxe Bumblebee in robot mode. Luckily, not long after, they released another Bulkhead, but in the leader class assortment, which, suits him a lot more. But is it a good figure? Bulkhead's alternate mode is an armoured 6-wheeled military-type van, says TFWiki. One from the 22nd century apparently, so we still have a while to go. You know it's futuristic because of its squat yet wide and near impractical windscreen, most likely designed to make the vehicle seem like it's frowning and thus look cool, which admittedly it kinda does. Comparing the Voyager and Leader Bulkheads, you can tell they wanted to do more than just size them up. And I'm not even talking about the different transformation and gimmicks. In contrast to the smooth chassis of the Voyager, Leader Bulkhead is not only covered in rivets, but is now equipped with a double-barreled turret, and yes, the guns pivot, and twin missile racks for the 4 air torpedoes he comes with. I can only assume they're removable for safety, seeing how they don't fire from anything in either mode, and thus don't really do much. While these changes result in a less show-accurate vehicle, if you don't care about that, some might prefer this armoured-up look. I like it and appreciate what they did, but I wouldn't lose sleep if this looked exactly like the Voyager. The colour scheme is pretty spot on, if nothing exciting. Military green, black, tan, 2 shades of bronze, golden yellow, twin white general stars, and translucent red for the Autobot symbol and sirens. The windshield is also translucent. Why all the clear plastic? Well, as with all of Animated's leader class molds, Bulkhead has lights and sounds. Press the sigil and you get... And this is just the beginning. During Bulkhead's fairly involved transformation, unpegging and repegging the turret activates the ever-classic To reiterate, the actual conversion is not just an upscale of the Voyager. For example, while the arms on both figures swing forward and peg into place, on the Voyager it's a spring-loaded gimmick, on the Leader it's manual, and the torso pulls forward so that the pegs and holes line up. Compared to how he looks in the show, animated leader-class Bulkhead's robot mode is not as wide, while his lower legs are longer. It doesn't really bother me though, since this figure still gets it across that this is the gentle giant of the group. His entire body in and of itself is still... stocky. Yeah, I'm not using the obvious adjective here. As are his limbs. Each shoulder sports a white general star. There's also his wings, and the head has that goofy lantern jaw, possibly inspired by Cybertron Crumplezone. Probably due to the figure's top heaviness, almost every point of articulation is a ratchet, the shoulders and hips, each in 2 spots, along with the elbows, knees, and ankles. The exceptions are swivels below the shoulders and above the knees. There's no waist rotation, and the head only really turns as part of an upcoming gimmick. While not an absolute brick, Bulkhead is probably the least posable of the 3 animated leader class molds. And now onto his many tricks, starting with an undocumented feature. Just like in the show, the wings can transform into a chair for him. Though lacking a pop-out wrecking ball, Leader Bulkhead has other gizmos built into his hands. Pushing the tab on his right forearm spins the buzzsaw in that hand. Meanwhile, his other hand opens and closes when you slide the tab on the corresponding forearm. Back to lights and sounds. Pressing the same Autobot symbol, now on his chest, activates 3 phrases.
Do it, buddy. Sorry, my bad. Time for the big guns.
If it's not Bill Fackerback, the voice of Bulkhead, it's a damn good sound-alike. As with the other leaders, the mouth simultaneously opens a little, like he's talking. Lastly, we get to the Headmaster Unit, that barring 1 or 2 details like the clear plastic horns, is more or less accurate. Pink frame, grey face, smirk and all. For context, the Headmaster, one of the show's recurring villains, cuts off the heads of robots, then controls them with this unit. And Bulkhead is one of his victims, hence its inclusion in this set. Here, however, the unit simply covers the head. As showcased in my reviews of Magnus and Megatron, it's compatible with all 3 leader class molds, except with Bulkhead, the electronics change. On top of the LEDs turning from yellow to the same red used for the wailing sirens, when you press the sigil now, it's the Headmaster's dialect. It's also the only line you get. It's cringy as f***, and it's the icing on what is a complex yet intuitive and overall enjoyable figure. Of the 3 animated leader class molds, Ultra Magnus is still my favourite, but Bulkhead's the runner-up. I'd actually place him in the same camp as Armada Galvatron, a great looking toy with somewhat hindered posability, but cram-packed with fun gimmicks and a neat accessory to compensate. So it's only fair that I give Bulkhead the same rank, right? If only they made a leader class lugnut to go with him.